Alright, I should be live right now. Can you guys hear me? I hope the audio is alright. Yep, please let me know if you guys can hear me. Hello everyone. Hello. Wow, there are so many people in the chat room today. Little Dude, Jupiter, Nat, Wing Blossom, Cheyenne, Uniberry, Ellen, Didi, Rocio. Yep, do let me know if the audio is working for you. Let me know if there is any those sizzling sound or static from my audio, so that I can get it fixed quickly. Alright, so today we are going to swatch this watercolor box, which I will talk about later on. So let's wait for a bit more people to join today. Yeah, so right now there are like 80 over people watching. That's pretty amazing. Let me just drink some water. You may hear some squeaking sounds from my computer chair. Okay, so let's start. So I wanted to make this, have this live stream because I have no idea how to review this watercolor box set. So yeah, I decided to just maybe swatch out the colors first, just to take a look at the pigments that are that are used to make these colors, and talk about the pigments and the colors, and then hopefully use this watercolor set for a few weeks and then put out my proper review for this. So today we are just going to swatch out the colors, and as well as maybe answer some of your questions. If you have any questions, you can let me know in the chat room. So always append your questions with the big letters QN, so that I can tell straight away at a glance that you have a question for me. All right. Okay, so let's see what we have here. A watercolor box set from Gallo. This is the company. Oh, let me show you the company's name card. By the way, today's video is not sponsored by them, as in I'm not paid to make this video, but this box was actually sent from them, from this company based in Italy, Gallo. This is actually Alina Gallo, and that's her website, and as well as her web store. Yep, so this is the town Assisi from Italy. So these are actually handmade watercolor paint. So she contacted me to ask if I wanted to review her watercolors. I took a look at her website, which I'm going to show you in a moment. Let me just switch over to her website. Okay, let me switch over. This is the first time I'm doing this switching over thing. Let me see if I can show you her website. Okay, so this is her website, and these are some of the products that she is selling. Actually, most of them are out of stock at the moment. Yep, actually all of them are out of stock at the that there is going to be a restock coming soon next week. So all these are made in Italy. So let's take a look at this particular box set that she sent me. By the way, when she contacted me, I had no idea that she was going to send this big box set. I was actually expecting a 12 pan set, but wow, when I saw this big package, it really shocked me. Like, I was really surprised, because this particular box set with 48 colors is priced at 345 euros. So that is, I mean, quite expensive. If you translate 345 euros to US dollars, it's about 410 US dollars. So Each pen is around $8.50 in US currency. I think the overall box set is quite expensive, but if the quality is good, I guess it should be worth the money. Or should I say that this box set with 48 colors, it can definitely last you for a very long time because there are so many colors. Okay, so these are the list of colors included in the set. So we will be swatching this 48 colors, and some of the colors are actually a bit unusual, like for example this particular color here. Let me zoom in for you guys to see. Buckthorn Berry Blue NG2. So this seems like it's made from some plant with moderate light fastness, which means if you expose it to light long enough, it's going to fade. So some of the colors are a bit unusual, but most of the colors are the classic colors made with the classic pigments. So let's take a look here again. Okay, so these are all the different products. They also sell dot cuts. Oh, okay. They have sample dot cuts with the complete collection. I'm not sure how many colors there are in the whole collection, but there are a lot of colors. They also sell some palettes, and the palettes do look good. They also sell some pocket brushes. So yeah, I told Lena to just send me anything, but I did not expect to get like a 48 color box set. Anyway, I will ask her, I mean, if you guys are interested to buy any of the products, I will ask her to maybe generate some coupon codes, and I will personally spend some of my money to buy these brushes here. You can see these brushes here. Yep, so she also sells these pocket brushes. They come in 4 sets of 4, size 2, 4, 6, and 8. So I will spend some of my money to buy a few of these brush sets and give out to any customers who buy any of the watercolor box sets here. Yeah, so this is one way I can do to support her business, because she sent me a very expensive watercolor box set. I don't want to like take advantage of this. I mean when companies send me products, it's a cost to them. I mean, I do understand that through my YouTube channel I am providing value to them by introducing their products to like a wider audience, but in this case this is quite an expensive box set. So yeah, so I mean, if you guys are interested to buy any of her watercolor box set, for the first few customers you will get a set of watercolor brushes if they are included. If they are not included, then I may buy something else to add to whatever order that you get. Right. So yeah, so I will personally spend some money to buy free gifts that will be added to your order, to the first few orders, if you buy any box set from them using my own money. Okay, so let's see what we have here. This is the 48 color box set, and yeah, so it comes with this, oops, I forgot to turn the camera on. Let me go back to turn the camera back on. Okay, so this is the 48 pen box set. Yep, it comes with this swatch cut, and this is very important because with so many colors you will want to know how the colors look, because I mean, I have used box sets with like a lot of colors, and sometimes when I don't use a color often enough, I would just forget what the color is. So it's very convenient to have this swatch cut here. And I will be swatching this later, and this watercolor paper. So they have a swatch watercolor card included with every box purchase, if I am not wrong. So these are handmade watercolor. We will talk more about that later. And this here on the side is this. This actually comes with the box, and the packaging is really nice. So the box set looks like this. It's very nice. I like the print on this. And you can definitely keep this because, well, it doesn't really take up too much space. I like this, and I like the gold color foil. Okay, hello everyone who have just joined in. Okay, so forgot to show you this bag here that was included as well. So this is a linen bag with drawstrings. So this watercolor box was actually in this bag here, and this is also really nice. The material here is quite tough, and this looks very well made. I mean, the packaging design, it looks really nice. Okay, by the way, this live stream will be recorded. So for those who missed the start of this live stream, you can actually just watch this live stream a few days later. Just go back to the start. Okay, so we have a card here that talks about the company. So Alina Gallo started making paint 10 years ago. And she has this interest in making paint due to the historic significance of the pigments as well as the artworks that were created. Now all the paints are toxic free or eco-friendly. They don't have cadmium, cobalt, lead and mercury. So it looks like there are not going to be any cadmium colors. There are no opaque colors. There are no cobalt colors, so there are not going to be any cobalt blues, cobalt turquoise. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, if you want to see the full list of colors that she has, just check out her website, which will be in the video description below. gallocolors.com. Okay, let me just put this away. Let's see. Oh, okay. I realize I have to actually like unwrap. So in this box set, it also comes with this synthetic squirrel brush. Wow, this is a size 0. This is also made in Italy. I'm not sure if I can zoom in for you. Okay, this is a good size 0. As squirrel brushes, they use different brush sizing standards compared to other brushes, like the typical round brush. So a size 0 for a squirrel is actually like a size 8 or a size 10 for a typical brush. And this looks really nice. Looks like a high quality brush. So let me just put this away. The brushes that this company sells, they are available in traditional, like real squirrel hair, or the synthetic squirrel hair. And wow, this is so many colors. I have received many watercolor sets to review over the last few years, and some of those sets, unfortunately, I've not used that much because there are just too many watercolors. Okay, so what am I going to do here? I am going to write down the names of all the colors so that I can have all the pigments here. And I will write down the names, write down the pigment using this pen with waterproof ink. Okay, by the way, if you guys have any questions, do feel free to ask me in the comment section, because this whole writing thing is going to take a bit of time. Hello Keiko from Japan. Wow. Dana. Okay, so we have, oh, should I just take out everything? Yeah, I should take out everything first. That would be easier. So all the colors here are actually arranged according to how this card was printed. Let me try and not mix up the order. Okay, wow, this is actually not easy to take out. 48 colors is a lot of colors. For beginners, I don't really recommend you buy so many colors because it can be a bit overwhelming to use so many colors right at the start. So for beginners, you can just get the 12 pen set, color mixing, learn more about the colors themselves, find out the limitation of your watercolor palette, and then see the limitation of your palette, and then buy the extra colors to make your palette more versatile when it comes to color mixing. So getting a 48 pen color like this is it's quite extravagant. It's an extravagant purchase. Yeah, so for beginners, I recommend you get just 12 or 24 colors. 48 is a bit too much unless you really want to try out as many colors as you want. Wow. By the way, if you guys actually have used these colors before, or actually have any of the box sets from Gallo, let me know in the comment section. You can also share your thoughts on these colors with other viewers from around the world. Yeah, a lot of people are talking about the synthetic squirrel brushes in the comment section. Yeah, nowadays there are a lot of synthetic squirrel brushes, and the quality of the synthetic squirrel brushes is actually quite good. Good as in, if you don't tell me the synthetic brush is made with synthetic hair, I will not be able to tell you the difference just by doing a blind test side by side, because some of the synthetic squirrel brushes, they are just too good. They really imitate the water carrying capacity of real traditional squirrel brushes, and they are also very soft and floppy, and they can cover a large area. But for synthetic versus real sable hair brushes, you can still tell the difference. But for synthetic squirrel versus traditional squirrel, personally for me, I am not able to tell the difference. Okay, let me put the metal frame there. Well, there is, yeah, so now is the oh, should I? Yeah, I should definitely write down the colors first. So let me just write down the colors first and try not to mix up the order. Okay. Where's the card? Oops, I think I may have messed up the order slightly. Okay. Let's see. Hello everyone who have just joined in. Oh, okay, some of you actually have bought from Gallo before. Okay, so the first color that I have here is lemon yellow. Yeah, the packaging, I mean, this packaging on the pen looks pretty nice as well. Gum arabic binder. So they use gum arabic. They also have honey added into the pens. So this lemon yellow is PY3. So let's just write that here. So lemon yellow can be PY 175 as well. It really, the naming of the colors really depend on the company. This is PY 154. What is this? Royal Yellow. Honey Watercolor. Okay, this is a mix Azo Yellow Gold. This is a mix of PY 151 and PY 43. By the way, if you guys have any questions regarding watercolor or art supplies, or basically any of the art supplies that I use on my YouTube channel, you can let me know in the comments section. This is, what is this? Indian Yellow. Yep. Indian Yellow, PY 110 and PY 154. Next color we have, what is this? How do I pronounce this? Arancion. This is unusual. This is mixed with PY 83, PV 19. Oh, that's a rose, and PR 101. And PR 255 for vermilion red. Some companies use PR 188 for vermilion. And this is, let's see what this is. This is Scarlet Red, PR 254. So if you need a warm red, it's either PR 254 or PR 255. Yep, so if you guys have any questions, please append your questions with the big letters QN so that I can see them clearly. PV19, Permanent Carmine. And this is PR 264, Ruby Red. Daniel Smith calls this PR 264 Pyro Crimson. So different companies will name their pigments or their colors differently. This is Opera Rose, PR 122, which is magenta. And this is Potter's Pink, PR 233, a very granulating color. Interestingly, this Potter's Pink, or should I say the pigment PR 233, is the only granulating red that I know of. So all the reds, they do not granulate, as well as yellows. For some reason, yellows and red, they do not granulate. Quinacridone Red Gold, PO48. Have I worked in charcoal? This is a question from Demod. I don't work in charcoal because it's quite messy, unless it's charcoal pencil or those water-soluble charcoal. If you work with charcoal, you need to fix the charcoal after you create your art, otherwise the charcoal will just go everywhere. And for me, it's very difficult to keep all those charcoal artworks. That's why I don't work with charcoal. This is Perlin Maroon, PR 179. And this is Mineral Violet, PV 16. Am I able to zoom in closer? Okay, okay, great. This is Mineral Violet, PV 16. Dioxin Violet, PV 37. I think I've never seen PV 37 before. This is a new one for me. This is PV 15. PV 15, Ultramarine Violet. Rook Sabaya said his or her iPad got wiped out, so all the traditional paintings that were scanned are gone. Wow, that is That's the thing with computers, because you really have to back up your computer, or even tablets. Even tablets can like be broken, so always back up. Indentrum blue. This is PB60. So for my iPad, I actually use the iCloud backup. I paid for the 200 gigs per month plan, which is $3 per month. It's really worth the money because it will back up your iPad as well as your iPhone. This is, what is this? Trans Cerulean PB153. So most brands will call this either cerulean or phthalo blue. Aquamarine PB15:4 and PG7, that's phthalo green. PB15:4 is a new one for me as well. Is there a color that I don't use or never use? I don't really use opaque colors. Yeah, I don't really use opaque colors. Those are the colors that I don't use, because I find the use of opaque colors quite, I mean, there are only certain situations where I would use opaque colors. Like if I want to cover over other colors, then I would use, but otherwise I don't really use opaque colors. So earlier on that was teal blue, PB15, PG7 and PW6. This is copper blue. Wow, this is a mix of 4 pigments. Yep, copper blue, PW4, PG7, PB15-3 and PY3. I'm not sure what they mean by Alina. I'm not sure what Alina means by handmade watercolor, because if you are to hand pour all this watercolor, I mean, or grind all this color handmade without, like really handmade without machinery, it is very tedious. Yeah, I mean, you can watch some of the watercolor making videos on YouTube and you can see those creators or artists, they would use the glass, what is that called, grinder, to mix the pigments with the binder, and it's a very long process. This is Lapis Lazuli. Is this Lapis? No, this is Zirconium Blue PB71. This is a new one for me as well. I've not used PB71 before. This is Lapis Lazuli, a really expensive blue, a very rare blue, hence expensive. This is a genuine version. That means there is no pigment number, so it just is Lapis Lazuli. So because the color is so expensive, that's why there were alternatives created, like ultramarine and French ultramarine PB29. Next up we have fig green PY151 and PG17. Let me just go a bit faster. Dragon's blood. Celt De Vito talks about dragon blood. Dragon blood is actually or a pigment or extract from this plant called dragon plant, which I'm not sure where it's grown, but it's this extract that is extracted from the dragon plant, hence it's called dragon blood. This is malachite. This does not have any pigment coat, so that's a rare color as well, the mineral colors. This is Viridian Hue PG7 and PB29. Now when I see Viridian, I always have to mention this. If you squeeze Viridian, the paint, out into, I cannot remember the exact pigment that's used to create Viridian. But the thing with Viridian is if you squeeze the paint out from the tube into a pan to dry, Viridian will dry back into a rock. which makes it difficult to re-wet. So don't ever squeeze real Viridian into a pen. This is sap green, a mix of 4 colors: PG36, PY83, PV19, and PR101. I'm not sure if you can find the pigment code on Gallo's website. If you are not able to find the pigments there, then I will alert her to add those information, because pigment info is very useful. It's very helpful. This is an unusual color. This is chromium oxide Ng2. The pigment is Ng2. So this could be made. This may be made with some plant. It is made with a plant, Granberry green. So that's the name of the plant. The thing with pigments made from plants is they are not light fast. They are fun to use, yes, but not light fast. A question from Dana: do I like PY129, like green gold from Winsor Newton? I don't really use that color because I try to mix my own greens. For green gold, which is a very light yellow green, like a very sunny green, the type of green you see when the sun shines on grass, like fresh grass, yeah, that's yellow green. I don't really use that because I can mix that color using a cool yellow and phthalo blue or cerulean. But it's a nice green. Greens are useful if you the mixed greens are useful if you paint with a lot of mixed green. Next color is, what is this? This is Verdaccio. Wow, okay. I have no idea what this color looks like. It looks like a very dull olive green. PBR7 and PBK6. Oh, there is no green in this, but it looks like a very dull olive green. Honey attract ants. I am actually not sure if honey attract ants, as in the honey from watercolor pens. If you guys use like honey-based watercolor, let me or let others know in the comment section whether or not your paints actually attract ants. The only honey-based color I have is currently this one, and the M. Graham watercolor. I think Sennelier and Jackson's Art, they use honey-based paint as well. But thankfully I don't work near ants so far, so no problem. This is green umber, PBR8. Wow, this is taking me a long time to write down all the names. PB29. This is olive green deep, PB29, PY110, and wow, what's this color? PY154. Since there are no cobalt colors in this set, there are not going to be any opaque colors. This is green earthworm, PG23. Do I tend to use yellow ochre more often? This is a question by Andre. That color tends to be opaque. Do I have any favorite brands that make solid yellow ochre? I do use yellow ochre quite often because it's a yellow. I mean, when I see objects that are light yellow, I would paint with yellow ochre rather than a diluted wash of lemon yellow or Hansa yellow medium, because if you just dilute Hansa yellow or lemon yellow with just water, the yellow is still going to look like too clean, too vibrant. So I use yellow ochre, which is a muted yellow, for light yellow washes. It looks natural once you add some water to it, so it's very convenient. I use yellow ochre a lot. Next color, green earth cool, PG23 as well, a different version of PG G23. This is slate gray, PBK19. Wow, this is the first time I see this as well. Is this live stream lagging for you guys? Yeah, let me know if the live stream is lagging. I'm not sure if it's because of the settings on my end or is it because of your internet connection. Let me just move over. Oops. Let me just take a look at my computer setting. It seems to be streaming fine on my end. So hopefully there's no lag for you guys. Oh, 35 minutes have passed since the start. And I've barely swatched out any colors yet. So let me just go a bit faster. Buff Titanium PW61. And this is Gallo Watercolor PY43. Now there are a lot of colors that this Moroccan ochre PY43. So some of the names of the pigments you can tell. From some of the names of the pigments, you can tell where those colors are. So for example, Moroccan pigment comes from probably Morocco. This is another PY43. This is raw sienna, is another color that I use very often. I use raw sienna and yellow ochre very often to mix skin tones and for light yellow washes. This is Castile Orange, PY43, PR102. Many of the colors may use the same pigment because the pigments may be heated to produce different colors. Yeah. So Ercolano Red, PR101 and PR102. This is Sartorio Red, PR102. All these PR101 and 102 colors are reddish earth pigments. They should mix well with blues to produce beautiful grays. Burnt Umber, PBR7. Burnt Umber is a tricky pigment because sometimes the pigment can be so hard that it's difficult to re-wet. PR101. This is Moreno. Burnt Umber Dark, PBR7. Another version of Burnt Umber. Question from Sosumi. Is it true that Sennelier makes Jackson's brand paint? Yes, Sennelier is the manufacturer of Jackson's watercolor, at least for the watercolor tubes, because if you actually buy Jackson's watercolor tubes and you peel off the wrapper, brand behind. I have a review of Jackson's art watercolor and they are the paint is extremely fluid. It's very difficult for Jackson's art watercolor tube paint to dry in pans because they are too fluid. I think they may have used too much binder or too much honey. I'm not sure which is which. Anyway, the quality for Sennelier or Jackson's art watercolor is really good. It's really value for money. It's just that the tube paint don't dry well with when you pour them in paint. Okay, so now let's unwrap this. Wow, okay. Should I use a pen knife? What are my favorite cool rates? Yeah. Thankfully, there is the pigment written on the pen here. My favorite cool rates are PV19, that's quinacridone rose, or some brands may call it permanent carmine. PV19 is really nice. Another color that I really like is PV42, which is quinacridone pink, if I remember correctly. Daniel Smith calls it quinacridone pink. Schminker calls it magenta. It's a very beautiful rose-like color, but unfortunately it's not like has the best light fast. Oh, so Sumi says I can actually push this wrapper like this. Oh, okay. Yep, it is definitely much faster. Thank you for the tip. This is going to save me some time. Yeah. And thankfully the pens, they don't stick to the wrapper. Okay, let's see. Now with honey based pens, sometimes the surface may be wet due to the humidity in your area. So sometimes here in Singapore it can get really humid. So when it's humid, I can see the surface of the pen. It will be dry, but when it's very humid, the dry surface will become wet, and this can happen like in a matter of minutes when the humidity changes here in Singapore. Okay, oh, there are some spots here on this pen. This is wow, I cannot pronounce that name. The pen seem to be filled all the way beyond the, you can see the pens, they are filled like to the top. Yeah, so I'm not sure how they actually pour this, how this is actually handmade. Because wow, handmade watercolor takes a lot of time, especially the grinding part to mix the pigments and the binder. So many of the bigger companies like Daniel Smith, Schminker, Winsor Newton, they have like machines for mixing paint and mixing binder and the pigment. One thing about watercolor pens is, unlike watercolor tube paint, pens, they will not have, or should I say, the pens will rarely have problems with binder separation. Some colors may still have binder separation even though they are in solid form, but it's very rare. So for heavy pigments like those cobalt colors like cerulean blue, chromium, or cerulean blue, any of the cobalt colors, they have this tendency, or many of the earth colors, they have this tendency for the binder to separate from the pigment because the pigments are heavy. The binders are not that heavy, so the binder will actually float to the top while the pigment goes to the bottom. But for pens like this, you don't have that problem. Okay, if you guys have any questions, let me know in the comment section. Just pen the questions with the big letters QN. Hello, Chase Daily and Cian Dickens. Oh, you're a patron. Yeah, you can submit your sketches for me to take a look. I will give you some suggestions on how you can improve. They pour in steps. Yep, pens like this are usually poured in steps because if you pour them like with just a single pour, some of the colors may like shrink, and when they shrink they will have like, I mean, the edges will have gaps. So when the edges have gaps and you send those to customers, it will look like they paid for a small pen, a smaller than usual pen. So when you fill them in steps with several pours, different sessions, different pouring sessions, you can fill them completely. The honey base paint here is dry because I have my air conditioning turned on. But if I have the air conditioning turned off, I'm pretty sure this will turn wet. So humidity is a problem here in Singapore. And speaking of humidity, if you live in a humid climate, make sure to always ventilate your watercolor box. Make sure to air your watercolor box. Make sure that everything is dry before you keep your box away in a humid climate, because mold can grow. Mold likes to grow in dark and humid conditions. I have some watercolor boxes where the paint is damaged by mold growth. I've made a few videos on that actually. But ever since I add the box properly, I no longer have problems with the mold growing. Okay, this halfway done. There are some watercolor making videos on YouTube that are quite interesting to watch. You can also learn a lot about pigments. I'm not sure if you guys heard of this YouTuber artist called Alicia Yetzer. Arleebean, A-R-L-E-E-B-E-A-N. She is a watercolor artist and teacher, and she also makes her own watercolor paint. She has a few videos on making watercolor. So you may want to check that out. I find the watercolor making process to be quite interesting. So the YouTuber I just mentioned is Alicia Yetzer or Arleebean. Let me just type her name in the comment section so that you guys can search for her. Alicia Arleebean. I hope I spelled her name correctly. Yeah, I like her videos because her videos are very relaxing to watch. Yeah, her videos are very relaxing to watch, and she shares a lot of insight from her professional career as well as an artist. So you can learn a lot from her. Wow, this is difficult to remove. So the ingredients used for the paint is gamma arabic, honey, and the pigments. Okay, so I've been streaming about 48 minutes and I've still not swatched anything yet. Okay, wow, some of the pens are difficult to push out. But this is actually, sorry, let me drink some water. What was I saying earlier? I can't remember. Oh, the stickiness of the pens here is actually quite good. I've seen pens that are really sticky. Wow. Difficult to push this out. Okay, so far the colors are looking really nice. if you are a beginner, looking at all these colors can feel like really good. It can make you feel really hyped up about painting, but it can also make you feel like quite intimidating, because I mean, which are the colors are you supposed to use? There are just too many colors. But when you have a limited color palette, there is actually not much to think about. You just use whatever colors that are there. To mix an orange, you can only use yellow and red. And if you do not get the orange you like, you just switch to a different yellow and a different red. With a limited color palette, it's easier to find the best orange you want, but with a palette that has so many colors, if you want to find out the best orange, you have to do a lot of trial and error, because one yellow can mix with so many different reds to get the orange. Some pens unfortunately will just not, some pigments unfortunately will just not dry perfectly. By drying perfectly, I mean some of the pigments, they will dry back into a rock. So those are the problematic pigments that should never be used to create pens. Like Viridian, and many of the mineral colors unfortunately can also dry back into a rock. Okay, I am almost done. So what are you guys up to? Yeah, what are you guys up to? Watching this YouTube live stream in the middle of the night, I believe, in USA, if I'm not wrong. Wow, this is difficult to open, so let me just try and open it like this slowly. What colors do I rarely use? I think I answered that question earlier. I rarely use cadmium colors. And nowadays I don't use a lot of green. As in, I don't use the pre-mixed greens. I still use a lot of sap green, but I don't use like phthalo green anymore, because I can mix phthalo green with lemon yellow and phthalo blue. So the spot is by another primary color. Wow. Grinding your own pigments. Said DeVito. I'm sorry, I did not get your name correctly. Yeah, you can grind your own pigments, or you can buy the pigments that are already sold by those pigment manufacturers. That will save you a lot of time from having to actually grind the pigments, because those pigments manufacturers, they actually do grind those pigments to different fineness. So some of the pigments can be grind very small, while some of the pigments will be grind to become coarser. One example is ultramarine. So with Schminker, they have ultramarine blue, or is it just called ultramarine? Anyway, they have 3 ultramarine. They have ultramarine, ultramarine finest, and French ultramarine. So ultramarine finest is the pigment grounded or grind until it's so fine that there is no more granulation. So if you want to buy pigments to mix your own watercolor, you can check out the pigments made by Kramer Pigments. They sell those bottled pigments in powder form that you can use to make your own watercolor. It can be quite fun. I'm not sure if it's more economical to buy your own pigment to mix your own watercolor or to just buy watercolor tubes, because you have to factor in the time and effort you need to put into to actually grind and mix those paint. And also when you mix the paint, you have to mix like a large batch, because I'm not sure if it's worth your time to mix like a small batch, only to fill like 1, 2, 3, 4. And also when you fill or make your own paint and you create only 4 pans, or if you create a lot of pans, how often, how fast can you use up those colors? And if you mix a lot of paint, you have a lot of pans, you will have a lot of this lying around. Yeah. Let's see. Rocky Scarlet says he or she has a box set of these colors, and the box set actually grew moldy because due to not using in the pans. Well, to solve the moldy issue, what you can do is actually let's imagine this box set has a lot of mold. Try to spray some alcohol first to like kill the mold, and try to like wipe off the mold. But the thing is, once your watercolor box has been infected by mold, the mold will always be there because there is no 100% way to remove the mold completely. So after you use alcohol to spray and you wipe off or remove the mold, next time when you use your watercolor box, just make sure to ventilate or air the box before you close the box, because when you close the box like this, the conditions inside is wet and dark and humid. It's perfect for mold to grow. So what I do is usually dry it completely before I close the box, and I do not close the box completely. I will usually leave the box open like this so that air can still pass through. And for watercolor boxes that really have like very serious problem with mold growth, I will have the box under the sun. Not sure if you can see it, but I will have the watercolor box under the sun, but make sure to cover the box to protect the colors, because some of the colors are not light fast. So when you have the paint like this inside the box under the sun, the heat will just kill all the mold. So for the watercolor boxes that I have that have frequent mold problem, so far over the last 2 years, with me just airing the box and not closing the box completely, I no longer have those problems with mold. So that's one suggestion that I have for you if you have problems with mold. Wrappers here. Wow, these are really beautiful. I think the wrappers are, I'm not sure how they actually print text on this paper. This looks like watercolor paper, and the wrapper, it's very sturdy. Yeah. I'm not. Maybe this is also painted. Yeah. Oops. The wrappers look very nice. Let me just put the wrappers one side so that I can take a photo of them later on, and just use this to put the wrappers once. Oops. Okay, so for those who have just joined in, today we are going to swatch this watercolor pens from Gallo. This is actually the box set that they sent me to show you guys. Okay, so it's time to swatch this. Oh, Diane Tarman has a problem with the paint falling out of the with the hardened paint falling out of the pen. One way you can prevent that, let me see box. I don't have any examples, but let me show you what you can maybe do. Because certain colors, they will dry hard. They will dry like very hard, and sometimes the colors will shrink. So the paint will become smaller and they don't stick to the side, which is why you should in several different pouring sessions to make sure that the paint will actually be in contact with the surface. But sometimes when the paint dries, it dries to this very hard solid block that has no friction against the plastic. So one way is to use a pen knife. Just make sure that you don't cut yourself, and you can cut some deep grooves inside here. Maybe it's better to just put the pen down here like this. Okay, so use your pen knife and cut deep grooves on the side of the pen. Make sure that you don't cut yourself. Just cut like really deep grooves, so when you pour the paint into the pen, the paint will actually go into the grooves, and the grooves will try to hold the paint down. Yeah. So that's one way I know. Oh, is it getting some static? Let me change the position of my mic. Okay, hopefully this is better. All right, let's paint. Let me zoom out here. Let me zoom in on the paper so you can see the colors more clearly. Now this watercolor swatch card is actually quite small. It's the size of that watercolor box. So you can keep this card together with the box. This is going to be very handy to help you remember what those colors are, because there are just way too many colors to remember. So the first color that I want to swatch will be lemon yellow, PY3. Lemon yellow is actually one of my color in my 12 color box, but I used PY175 instead of PY3. Okay, looks like this color is very vibrant. Very nice. It re-wets very nicely. Someone suggested sandpapering the inside of the pen. That should work as well. As long as there is something inside the pen to hold the paint should not drop out. This is royal yellow, PY174. Looks like a mid yellow to me. For my mid yellow in my personal palette, I use PY97, which is Hansa yellow medium. This is Azo yellow gold, PY151 and PY43. The more primary colors you have inside your box, the more versatile your watercolor box set will be when it comes to color mixing. Because, I mean, with just 3 primary colors, you can mix a good amount of colors. With several sets of primary colors in the box, you can mix like almost an unlimited permutation of colors. That's Indian yellow on the left, and this is Arancione. Looks like a very warm yellow, like a new gamboge type of yellow. They don't have new gamboge with this particular set. Maybe they have a color, but it's not in this particular set. Oh, regarding the light fast quality of PY3, PY3 does not have perfect light fast quality, so that means the paint, the color may actually fade when you expose it to light long enough. So it's not a color that you should use to use for professional work if you want your colors to last. But the color PY3 should still last for like many years. Just that if you want something more permanent, you can consider PY175. So this is PR255 on the left, and this is PR254 on the right. Let me move my camera down so that I can zoom in closer. Yep, I think this looks better for you guys. If you are mostly sketching or painting in sketchbooks, you don't have to worry too much about the light fast quality. As in, if you use light fast, there are paints with excellent light fast, like earth colors, and then every other pigments will have less than the will have lower light fast quality, but those are still very light fast, so you can use them for paintings. But if you use them in sketchbooks where the pages never really see the light unless you flip to the page, it should be fine. I also use some of the so-called non-light fast colors, but only in my sketchbooks. This watercolor set is the Gallo watercolor set. I'll put the link. I actually did not mention a brand in my... Did I mention a brand in my YouTube thumbnail? I think I did. Anyway, I'll put more information regarding this watercolor box set in the video description below later on, or on my blog. This is PR122, Opera Rose. Yep, it's called Opera Rose. And it looks like a magenta to me. Potter's Pink. So far, all the colors, they re-wet quite well. Okay, Potter's Pink is re-wets well, but it's not a color that has a high tinting strength. So if you want to see intense color, you have to use a lot of paint. But this one, or this version, actually is quite good. I don't have to like scrub the pen that many times to get this color, so this is actually quite good. Making your own watercolor paint takes a lot of trial and error, because you have to get the proportion of each ingredient right so that the paint can appear vibrant, it's easy to re-wet, and the paint can actually move around easily on the paper. This is Quinacridone Red Gold PO48. Some people do enjoy the very hands-on creation of their art supplies. Opera Rose. This Opera Rose is not the Opera Rose used by many other brands. Many of the other brands, they actually use the fluorescent this Opera Rose. This uses PR122, but other brands of Opera Rose, they use this fluorescent pigment that does not have good light fast quality. Okay, next Perlin Maroon PR179. when you want to buy individual colors, it's best to buy the vibrant colors. So Berlin Maroon, you can see it's not, it's PR179. It's a red pigment, but it's not very obviously red. So since this is not very obviously red, it's going to have difficulty when it comes to mixing orange or purple. This is PB16. Tom Ford says if you scan your work, then you don't have to worry about light fast, the light fast quality. It's true. Okay, and if you use or paint in sketchbooks, you don't have to worry about light fast quality as well. This is PV15. Oh, Dr. Oto Kano also has a lot of very detailed, insightful videos on watercolor and watercolor mixing. She does a lot of very intensive tests. Like some of her tests would involve comparing the same pigment across 8, 10 brands. It is an incredible amount of work that she does. It is quite incredible. Just the thought of her painting those color swatches or color tests and comparing them across 8 to 10 brands, that thought already makes me very tired. But do check out Oto Kano's YouTube channel. It's very insightful, especially if you want to buy a specific pigment and you want to know which brand has the best version of that pigment, of that watercolor paint. You can check out Dr. Oto Kano's YouTube channel. Yeah, let me just put her name in the chat box so that you guys can find her. Oto Kano. I am a subscriber of her YouTube channel as well. Okay, so far the colors are looking great. I really like the fact that they can re-wet very well. This is copper blue. I'm not sure why this is called copper blue. So sometimes it's difficult to tell how a color will look just by their name. Okay, this is zirconium blue, PB71. This is the first time I'm using this color. Let me just zoom out slightly. Okay, it re-wets, but not as well compared to other brands. And this looks like a light cerulean blue. A very pastel like color. By pastel I mean there is some white in it. This is Lapis Lazuli. It's not a color that is easy to re-wet as well. Daniel Smith's version of this color is very weak. It's very pale. So if you want Lapis Lazuli, I recommend you get pan versions. So far, all the Lapis Lazuli pens that I've tried before, they all look good. As in, the colors is strong and bold, but for Daniel Smith, it's very washed out. It's not worth the money. Ultramarine blue, PB29. This is a classic blue that almost all artists and painters will have, and it's not very expensive because this is the synthetic version of ultramarine. James Ramirez asked me, what's your watercolor palette for someone who is a beginner? Don't go for so many colors. Go for beginners. I recommend you just get a 12 color palette. Learn so that you can learn more about color mixing rather than, use green when you can mix the green using yellow and blue. You can learn more about color mixing. And for beginners, having a limited color palette will make it less overwhelming. It will actually make you learn watercolor faster if you have a limited color palette rather than having so many colors. Okay, let's see. Next color, fig green. This is a yellow green, kind of like what's that green? Green gold. It looks kind of similar to green gold. Next color, malachite. This is a mineral color that is a light green. This looks nice. And this is a Viridian hue. The real Viridian is actually quite nice because of the granulation. Viridian hue, in this case, I'm not sure if it has granulation. This is a mix of PG7, phthalo green and ultramarine, so it may have some granulation, but on this small swatch here, it's difficult to tell. Next color, sap green. This sap green here looks like an olive green to me. Yep, it looks like an olive green to me rather than sap green, but it's still nice. Let me zoom in on the swatches a bit more. Some of these colors may be a bit difficult to, it's a bit difficult to tell what some of these colors are just by looking at the pens, especially the blues and some of the browns here. So obviously the yellows, they look yellow, the reds look red, but some of the darker blues and the earth colors are a bit difficult to tell. Okay, let's see, chromium oxide. Chromium oxide. There are a lot of greens in this particular set. You actually just need like a few yellows and blues and you will be able to mix some of these greens. This is bark tone green. This is made with some plant. Wow, this is not easy to re-wet. I would avoid plant pigments if I were to buy the colors separately, because plant pigments are usually not light fast. Verdaccio is this next color. This looks like, wow, I'm not sure what this color is. It looks like a muted olive green. Question by Melodious Dissonance. Are any of the colors really granulating? So far, it's a little difficult for me to tell because most colors are not granulating right now. Yeah, it's difficult for me to tell whether or not they are granulating just by looking at these small swatches. I will put out a more detailed review when I use these colors in more extensively. but so far they don't look like they are granulating. Even for French ultramarine, which is supposed to be granulating, here it doesn't seem so. Even for Potter's Pink, which is supposed to be granulating, I can't see the granulation here. Maybe the swatch is just too small for me to see the granulation. Some people may prefer granulation, some may not. Olive green dip. Is this color? Oh, so olive green dip looks like this, and this looks like is that Verdasio? Looks like a muted version of olive green dip. If you head over to Gallo's website, you should be able to see like huge watercolor swatches. My swatch here is too small. Next color is Green Earth Warm. Wow, this color is not easy to dissolve. The paint is not easy to dissolve. By the way, I am recording with new equipment today. More specifically, my computer is the new M1 Mac Mini. I have been recording with my old Mac for the longest time, and it's not that powerful. That's why when I do live streaming, you can always hear the fan noise in the background. It's very irritating, very distracting. So with this new M1 Mac Mini, it's really powerful. I am not able to hear the fans turn, which is great. Yep, Jessa, there are too many colors, it's overwhelming. Even for me, it's like incredibly overwhelming. This is Slate Gray, PBK19. I have not used this color before. Colors that I don't see myself using anytime soon would be these green colors, because I try to mix my own greens rather than use pre-mixed greens so as to get more variety. Okay. So far the quality for the paint looks very good. So for those who have just joined in the live session, the main reason why I am painting these color swatches today is I have no idea how to review this set because there are just too many colors, and also I want to hang out with you guys. This is Gold Ochre from Italy, PY43. As mentioned earlier, I really like yellow ochre and raw sienna because you can dilute them easily to paint yellows. Oops, my brush is not completely clean. Next is raw sienna. Very nice colors. Sometimes it's a bit difficult for me to tell the difference between raw sienna and yellow ochre. I actually have to paint them side by side to see the difference. So I can use either interchangeably. Royal Talents Rembrandt 48 half pan set. I mean, Rembrandt is supposed to be a good brand, so it should be fine to get that set. This is PR 101 and 102. Okay, so we are down to just these 6 colors. Sartorial Red. There are, I mean, if you look on Etsy's website, you will find a lot of people actually make their own watercolors to sell. A lot of people actually make handmade watercolors to sell. This is burnt umber. This color re-wets well now, but hopefully that pen will stay like that in the future, because burnt umber can dry to become very hard, very difficult to re-wet. This is PR 101 Morellon. Notice this PR 101, it's very different from this. From which one? This looks like a Venetian red to me. This is dark, another version of burnt umber. This looks like burnt sienna. Does this look like burnt sienna? I'm not too sure. But this burnt umber looks more like burnt umber to me. So this looks like burnt sienna. And they don't have a burnt sienna in this particular set. Or should I say they don't have a color that's named burnt sienna in this set. Wow, what is this color? I accidentally painted over this color. Yeah, unfortunately, I cannot remember what this color is. So the next color, or the last color, is ivory black. Okay, done. So this is going to be, so this watercolor swatch card is going to be extremely helpful to help me remember the colors that I have in this set. And the color of this card is off-white, so it has a light cream color compared to the white color of this metal palette. Yeah. So this is what we have. You may notice some holes on the watercolor pens. I'm not sure why there are some holes. You can see the holes here, here. They don't affect the quality, of course. I just find it unusual that there are holes on the pens. Oh, the color was gray. Was this Payne's gray? Payne's gray? Yeah, could be. It looks like a Payne's gray to me. Let me drink some water. Question from Louis Batron. What do I think of Core Watercolor? Core Watercolor is very vibrant, but they don't use gum arabic as their binder. They use Aquazole, which is a different type of binder, and when you paint Core Watercolors on a wet surface, the paint will spread out like really fast. The paint will actually just rush out. So that may or may not be a behavior that you want. So you have to actually try to see whether or not you can get used to how Core Watercolor behaves on wet surface. My recommendation is, if you want to try Core Watercolor, just buy a very limited number of colors, like maybe 3 or 6 colors to test first. Yeah, and I'm not sure how well Core Watercolor dries. Okay, so let's take a closer look at take a look close up at the colors. So all these colors, they look different enough to be included in the set. Obviously, you don't want to have colors that are too similar looking in the set. And all the colors, they re-wet quite nicely, and I was able to get the intensity of the colors very easily. There are certain pens that don't re-wet as well, or they may re-wet nicely, but you have to use a lot of paint in order to achieve the color intensity. So that's when you know the quality of those pens they are not that good, or maybe they just don't have enough binder enough pigments. They have too much filler and binder compared to the actual pigments. The blues are nice. Oh, someone mentioned Jenny Granberry. Yes, she is an artist who uses a lot of core watercolor. Yeah, I follow her channel as well. She is incredibly talented. She is a watercolor artist as well as a teacher. So her artworks are really, really beautiful. Do check out her channel. Jenny Granberry. Let me type her name in the comment section so that you can find her online on YouTube. Okay, if you guys have any questions, let me know. Just append your questions with a big Q, with the big letters Q and. Alright, so yeah, let me see what other questions you have. Oh, okay, let me just scroll through, move the card to the side so that you can see the colors. Oh, this color is nice, malachite. This is a nice intense version of this color. Viridian hue. Yeah, so all the colors that I've swatched so far, they don't seem to granulate, at least from what I can see on the small swatches. This granulates. Green umber, it granulates. I can see slight granulation. But all the other colors, they don't seem like they granulate. Zirconium blue, it granulates. This is very nice. This is a very rare color because most brands, they don't sell zirconium blue, PB71. Lapis Lazuli, this is a nice version of this color. Yeah, this is really nice. And we have ultramarine blue. This also granulates. So these three blues, they granulate. This ultramarine looks really nice as well. Yes, Susumi, I will be using the to paint like an actual sketch, but I will not bring it out on location because this set is like too big and heavy. Oh, okay, I have some Payne's gray on my hand. For some reason, this color doesn't dry as fast compared to the other colors. Let me just wash my hand first, my finger. Yeah, for some reason, the Payne's gray from Gallo, it doesn't dry as fast compared to the other colors in the set. And this color also looks quite thick. How do the colors lift? I'm not sure how they lift. Maybe I will test that in the full review. A question from Ed Hanani. How do I compare Gallo with Daniel Smith? Difficult to answer. Our Smith colors are slightly more vibrant. Maybe just slightly, but the quality should be quite similar. The quality, I mean, should be quite similar. I definitely have no problems with the quality that I'm looking at here. The colors are vibrant and they are easy to wet. Those are the two main things I look for when I buy watercolor pens. Daniel Smith also has watercolor pen sets. Those were just recently released. But it's actually better or more economical to buy watercolor tubes than to buy pen sets. Okay, so Sumi says the box sets can go out of stock quite quickly. So Alina Gallo is going to restock these colors on June 27, which is 1 week later. So if you are interested to buy the set, do check out her website on that day when she restocks her supplies. Yeah, let me just show you guys more of the swatches. I think they are more interesting compared to looking at the hardened pens. Let's see what other questions you guys have. Alice Lim is my friend from Singapore. I met her at the Urban Sketches sketch walk many years ago. She also has a lot of wonderful watercolor sketching videos. She's into urban sketching, so do check out her channel. And for those who have just joined in, I have just finished swatching these colors. If you are interested to buy any set from Gallo, I will be buying some watercolor brush sets to give out to some of the first few customers. Yep, because I feel kind of bad to receive this very expensive box set that is 410 US dollars. Yeah, this is priced at 345 euros on their website, and that's not inclusive of shipping. And I will try to get some coupon codes for you guys as well to get discounts for those who are not able to get the brush sets that I am going to sponsor with my own money. Sorry, how do I pronounce your name? JB Joe ask what color mixes would I recommend for Bakwete color. Bakwete, by the way, is some pig intestine soup that's sold in Asia, and it's mostly like brown or earth color, so you can try mixing those colors. Or you can mix those colors using primary colors yourself. It may make the mix look more vibrant than just using the earth colors. What do I think of M. Graham watercolor? M. Graham is a very good brand. They make high quality watercolor, but their watercolor is best used from the tube, so do not squeeze them out into pans, because those honey based tube paint, they don't dry well. They don't dry properly in pans like this, so they will always be wet, and sometimes they will always be fluid. So if you have them inside box sets that you bring around in your bag, the paint is going to flow out of the pan. So I don't recommend using M. Graham as pot paint. You can bring the watercolor tubes outdoors to paint with, but don't pour them into pans like this with M. Graham. That's the only thing about M. Graham. Don't pour them into pans. Today I'm able to actually stream for a much longer time because I also bought a new battery for my camera. Okay, let's see what else. What other questions do you guys have? Uniberry asked if I watch any anime or play video games lately. I don't play. I don't watch any anime. I used to watch like a lot of anime, but I don't watch a lot now. Let me switch over to show you guys. Let me switch over to showing you guys the Gallo's website so that I can have more things to show you rather than show you the screenshot of the watercolor swatch that I just painted. And maybe I can discover some more interesting things on her website as well. Yep, so the individual pens on Gallo's website will or should be in stock in a week's time if there are no delays. The rustling sound is the sound of the wrapper. Yep, this is a very expensive box set. I probably won't buy it myself if I'm looking for a box set, or at least I will not buy a 48 color set like this. I will, if I have to buy a set, I will go with the 12 color set on the, oh, did I switch over to the screen yet? Yeah, oh yeah, I did switch over to the screen. If I were to buy a set, I will go with 12 or the 12, this one on the left side, sorry, on the right side, or the 24 color set on the left side. And I will probably not go with the, oh, actually, the watercolor, do you see this watercolor, this watercolor palette on the side here? I actually thought the holes here are for your paint, but it seems like you can put those plastic pans into those holes there, so that's nice because you won't want to have wood mixed with water. And there's this little oh, I'm not sure if you guys can see my screen. It looks okay. Okay, I see some problem with my screenshot. It's not showing the whole screen. Let me just resize this window. Okay. I was talking about this wooden palette box. The holes here seems like you can put those plastic pans into the holes, and there is this brush holder here, which is nice. So this looks good. This actually looks quite good. And you have some carving design on the wood as well. The wood itself looks good. I don't have this to review though, but it looks good to me. And there is this wooden box for portable brushes, which I don't think it's necessary to have a box to protect your pocket brushes, because once you keep the pocket brushes, they are already well protected. All you have to do is to make sure that you do not lose your pocket brushes. So, oh, they have the pigment information listed on the side here. Yeah, the product photography is actually quite good. And let me scroll down here. Oh, they have the color swatches as well, and you can zoom in to take a look at the color swatches. This is nice. Good. It seems like they have all the information that anyone would need to make an informed purchase. Okay, let me take a look at what other questions you guys have. Do you recommend watercolor pencils, or are they a waste of money? This is a question by Rocky Scarlet. I don't consider watercolor pencils to be a waste of money. They are actually quite worth the money, because they can do things that you cannot do with watercolor. So they can, I mean, you can draw lines with them and re-wet the lines to create certain effects, and it's difficult to do that with actual watercolor and brush. So basically use the tools to their best advantage. With pencils, you can create textures, you can create lines, you can use them for shading. You should use those pencils for those characteristics. So watercolor pencils definitely not a waste of money. You just have to use them in the correct manner. Oh, let's go over to see. Oh, this is their handmade process. No, I want to take a look at more of their products. And as well as answer some of your questions. Mark B asked this question: should I not squeeze Sennelier paints in pens too because the watercolor is even more fluid compared to M. Graham, and they are even more difficult to dry compared to M. Graham, so I don't recommend Sennelier in pens as well. Unless you really want to spend like weeks to dry those pens. Okay, we have watercolor dot cuts. I'm not sure if I can recommend watercolor dot cuts in general. I'm not specifically talking about the watercolor dot cuts from Gallo, because I find that those watercolor dot cuts, the watercolor paint on the dot cuts, sometimes they don't re-wet as well compared to the pens, even though they should be the same paint. But somehow it's very difficult to re-wet those paint on those dot cuts. Maybe Gallo has better quality dot cuts, but I'm not too sure. You can try. Yeah, you can certainly try that. Maybe I should buy a few of these sample dot cuts to give out as well. Yeah, maybe I should do that. So for some of the purchases that you guys make on Gallo's website, I will throw in some watercolor dot cuts as well for the smaller box sets. Yeah, so for people who buy the 12 or the 24 sets, you may get a chance to win some watercolor dot cuts. And let's scroll down. They have pencil cases, watercolor sketchbooks, and watercolor brushes on the side here. These are mop brushes made with synthetic squirrel hair. And you have the option to choose different sizes, and also you can choose traditional squirrel hair if you want to. Not with this though. They have those pocket brush collections where you can choose. Yep. So for the pocket brushes, you can choose synthetic hair or the traditional squirrel hair. Wow, it seems like they are selling a lot of products. All watercolor related products, obviously. Okay, we have 6 half pens as well in these small tin boxes. Let's see what other questions you guys have. Is anyone in the market for pigments to make into paint? Oh, that's Tom Ford. I think Tom Ford is trying to sell some handmade watercolor. Oh, wow, there are a lot of people in the chat room. It's very difficult for me to scroll through to look at to find all the questions. So let me just continue to look at some of the products from Gallo. The watercolor pocket brushes are nice. These ones are nice. No, not this one. These ones, they come with fabric pouches as well. I like the look of these brushes. I'm not sure if the body is plastic or wood though. Doesn't really matter whether the body is plastic or wood, because for example, the pocket brushes from Escoda, you use metal bodies, and pocket brushes from Da Vinci, they use plastic bodies. I prefer Da Vinci because the screw-on brush is tighter. Oh, okay, what's this? Lapis Lazuli half pen for 15 euros. So that's how the pigment looks, and that's how the stone looks. I'm not sure how they actually separate the impurities from the actual stone though. You see some yellow particles there in the stone. So there is a story on the side here talking about the history of Lapis Lazuli. This stone has been mined for 6,000 years. Yeah, so back then this color can be more expensive than gold. That is interesting. This is a rare color. For the pen version, I think it's safe to buy. Safe as in you should be able to get the intensity of the color. But for watercolor tubes, as mentioned earlier, don't buy the Daniel Smith version because it's very washed out. And all these single pens are sold. Yeah, so all these single pens are sold out at the moment. Each pen is around 9 euros to 9.5 euros. Yeah, so the pricing will be different depending on the price of the pigment, of course. Zirconium blue is 9.5 euros. Let's take a look at zirconium blue. It's a semi-opaque color. Okay, I actually like to read about the history of all these pigments because all these pigments, they actually have a lot of history. This looks like Potter's Pink, half pen for 9.5 euros. I haven't been doing a lot of limited color palette videos, but I should restart that series soon. It's a fun series because you can learn a lot about color mixes and how different colors behave when they are mixed together. Do I prefer natural fiber brushes or artificial brushes? This is a question by Sad Boy Hours. I prefer natural hair sable brushes, but for big brushes, for smaller brushes, I prefer sable hair because the sable hair brushes can point really well. It's very easy to get really sharp points with sable hair brushes for smaller ones. But for bigger brushes, I don't really mind synthetic brushes. Like mop brushes or big round brushes, I can actually go with synthetic brushes. Da Vinci Cassano is a brush that has synthetic sable imitation hair, and Da Vinci Cassano is a really good brush. So if you don't want to buy sable hair for ethical reasons, like Kolinsky sable hair brushes for ethical reasons, Da Vinci Cassano is the brush you should check out. And I just bought like Winsor & Newton synthetic brushes, synthetic sable hair brushes to test. So it's not here yet, but I will review that soon. Any tips for a fountain pen beginner? Yeah, just practice more. The more you draw, the better you will get. Okay, so yeah, I think that's pretty much it. So let me just answer some of your questions. Let me just look through the chat group and see some of your questions. For those who have just joined in, I'm about to end this live stream. I just want to answer some questions before I end the live streaming session. Let me just switch over to my camera again. Turn this off. Yep, I am back in front of the camera. Oops. I have some wrapper on the ground. Okay, let's see. What questions do I have? Will you be doing some kind of live sketch? Maybe I can do that next month, live sketch. But personally, I prefer to actually record the drawing tutorial because with a recorded drawing tutorial, I can actually just cut out all the segments that I don't have anything to say. Yeah, it can help you save more time rather than doing a live sketch for like 1 or 2 hours. I'm sure there are people who will watch, but creating like shorter tutorials may benefit more people. Let's see. Have you ever recorded a video drawing or painting where it came out really ugly to the point you did not upload it? Yes, I did. I actually recorded a video recently where I got the proportion like totally off. So I just drew like 4 lines or 4 elements or 4 objects on the double page sketchbook. Just 4 objects, and oh, I realized I just wasted the 2 pages. So yeah, I have to reshoot that tutorial. But yes, I do draw or make errors, like big errors sometimes. For smaller errors, you can actually, or I would actually just continue to draw, but for big errors, especially when you get the proportion wrong, it's very difficult to continue because right at the start, when you get the proportion wrong, everything else that you draw later will be wrong because you have already gotten the proportion wrong right at the start. Tiffany is not around today. Tiffany is at her grandmother's house playing, and I'm very sure she is having a lot of fun there. She is all about the play. She is at an age, she is 3 to 4 years old now, so she likes to play. It's very difficult to get her home from the playground when she is like playing. Okay, did I just black out? I'm not sure if oh, okay, I'm back. My tablet just blacked out for no reason. How many gigs of RAM do you think is enough for animation? I plan to get iPad Pro 2021. If you want to buy an iPad Pro right now, the current model has 8 gigs of RAM. That I think is definitely more than sufficient for animation. No problem. Thank you, Dana, for your comment on my art. Are you going to keep this live stream chat later for those who missed it? Yes, this live stream chat will be recorded by YouTube, so you can still watch this later on. Oh, today is actually Father's Day. I did not know that. Yeah. Let me just scroll through some of the comments that you guys have. If you have any more comments, let me know in the comment section. Just append your questions with big letters QN so that I can find them easily. Okay, so I think, well, 2 hours of streaming. I think it's, yeah, I think I should end my live stream right now. Thank you guys for watching. I will put out the full review for this set of watercolors. I'm not sure when I will be able to put out the review because I actually have to test the colors more extensively before I can give you my like objective review. But so far, from what I can see, at least from the swatches that I've painted, the pens, they re-wet well and they are vibrant. So yep, the quality is good. Yep, so thanks for watching. See you guys in the next live stream or next video. Bye.